Today's episode of Promo Perspectives is brought to you by Perry Ellis International Corporate Sales. Perry Ellis International offers the convenience of purchasing best-in-class golf and corporate apparel from three of the world's leading fashion brands. Whether you're hitting the links or the show floor, your brand looks good with our style. Choose from PGA Tour apparel, Callaway apparel, and Original Penguin. Make your next corporate polo one you'll be proud to wear. Find Perry Ellis International in Sage Workplace to order brand name branded apparel. Hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of Promo Perspectives. My name is Nicole Cook, and I'm your host for today. And I'm joined by Matt Parisi, one of our distributor sales account advisors. Matt, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. We are going to talk through a little bit about looking forward into the new year and kind of hearing what people are looking for, and what Matt is hearing from his clients and his customers as they head into the new year. So, before we get into that, Matt, can you just briefly describe your role here and the types of customers that you support?
Absolutely. So I'm a distributor account advisor is my official title. I just had my 4-year anniversary here at
Nice.
Sage, which is super exciting. I cannot believe I've been here this long, and this will be my fifth PPAI Expo coming up in January, which
Nice.
is just absolutely mind-boggling. But what I actually do day to day, I work directly with our member distributors. Basically, our whole goal is to connect them with all of the different suppliers that we work with, and then all of the products within the database. So I kind of help them get started and learn our software, Sage Workplace, and make sure they're comfortable navigating all of the different tools that they've got access to in there. But then beyond that, help them out with additional questions and even like specific client scenarios that they're working on. If it's a store they're wanting to set up, the different caveats and details for that client specifically and what they'll need, and all of that kind of stuff. As far as the distributors themselves, I work with everyone from, little one-man operations where it's just someone kind of doing it on the side and they've got a full-time job, all the way up to, big corporate affiliates that have a bunch of different support staff and in-house, decoration that they can do and different things. So it's really kind of a mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, that really is. Yeah, you guys run the gamut over on the distributor sales side. So,
For sure.
yeah. So to get into it, thinking about the new year, what has kind of been like the mindset that you feel like you've been getting from your distributor members when you're talking about like what are they trying to prep for the new year? What are they looking for? Are there any tools that they're wanting to make sure that they're all up to speed on going into 2026?
Yeah. So I think a big thing that I've noticed really for this year, especially if we're talking about like in comparison to last year, really, is there's not a lot of like apprehension. And what I mean by that is, last year it seemed like with all of the tariffs and stuff that were being
Yeah.
talked about with, the new presidency and all of these different things, there was just a lot of question marks kind of around the industry about, what people were going to have access to and what products were going to be available, in time for these different events and throughout the course really of that first half of 2025. And this year we don't, at least so far, I really haven't noticed any of that. If
Mhm.
anything, it seems like suppliers have really, gotten their ducks in a row throughout the course of the past year, and there's, haven't been any issues, at least not that I've heard of people
Yeah.
having shipments delayed or not being able to get things. So to me, it's more of like a kind of a mind shift switch from the apprehension to like being a little bit more confident, when going and talking to customers about, different projects going into 2026. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like even on the marketing side, I've felt that a little bit because you're right. It was like going to shows at the beginning of the year, there was so much hesitancy because no one really knew what was going to happen or what's going on. But I kind of agree. I feel like we've even on our end been hearing people who are like, okay, I think we feel more settled. Like, let's go back out and let's like kill it.
Exactly, yeah. And people are quoting jobs like normal now. There's none of this pressure to, hey, you need to get your orders in for your event that's 3 months from now, 6 months
Yeah.
from now. It's kind of back to normal timeline, as far as different things like that go, which is really nice.
Yeah, that is awesome. Um, and thinking about products in particular, are there any like product categories that you're hearing that our distributor members' clients are looking for? Like any trends that you're seeing kind of rising up to the top?
So to me, I think that question it's really case by case dependent on what industry you're targeting. After
Mhm.
chatting with some of my customers, you hear a lot of like common things across different industries, but some of the things that I picked up, drinkware still seems to be a really, really big one, especially with some of this newer, nicer kind of drinkware that
Yeah.
seemed to come out over the last several years. And then kind of like some twists on some of that, even some of that existing drinkware to make it more functional, I think has been a really big trend recently, like the
Mhm.
functionality of different things, rather than just making it look nice, making it
Yeah.
actually serve a purpose for you, if that makes sense. I know
Mhm.
like the Awala water bottles are really popular. I've actually got one I'm
Yes.
holding on to right here.
Oh, mine
That's
is
real
not in
nice.
arm's reach, but I have mine too. Mine's just a little bit farther away.
And there's nothing crazy about the design of the just the bottle, but it's then like the lid, being able to fully
Yep.
close and have the button that opens and has the straw that's down in there. So it's the kind of the combination of the Stanley, but making it a little bit more secure by having the lid that fully closes, whereas a lot of the Stanleys have the straw, that you
Hmm.
see sticking out of them still that can still spill. So I think it's some things like that I've noticed. That I think are probably big right now. The drinkware, and then also just like name brand apparel, I think is another good one. Someone I was just speaking to let me know that Cotopaxi is now being sold by Sanmar,
Oh,
which is a really
nice.
big brand that people seem to really like. So I think we'll see a lot more of that being sold next year for sure.
Yeah, I like what you said too about like functionality. I think that that has been a big shift. And we had an episode a couple weeks ago actually with someone from PPAI who was talking about like research trends and just general industry trends. And that really jives with what they were saying too. Like focusing on products, it's kind of less about almost like what you said. It's less about like what the actual product is because it can change depending on the client, but like making sure that it is serving a purpose and not just like
Exactly.
putting a logo on something.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
On that end, is there anything that you feel like you're seeing less of or hearing people talk less about? Like it might be kind of what you're saying, less of just, hey, let's make something look pretty. But is there anything else that you could think of?
Um, you know, Something that I have noticed, especially, a big shift from beginning of this year or end of 2024, where it seemed that people were really concerned with finding something for like the lowest price point
Mm,
possible. Whereas now, recently, in fact, I've had several more people ask me for kind of the opposite. They want something that's more premium, something that is
mm,
nicer to give to their customers, versus just trying to go for the bottom of the barrel. What's the cheapest to still accomplish,
yeah.
what they're looking for, which has been very encouraging, for me personally. It's just good to see that people are confident again, confident in their buying decisions, and even that it's the end user is the one asking for something nicer too, like they're
Yeah.
willing to spend some more money than previously. So that to me has probably been the biggest thing. I wouldn't necessarily say a specific product or even product
Mhm.
category that I've noticed people aren't going after anymore. That just it goes back to the case by case. Like you're always going to have
Yeah.
people asking for koozies and pens and these different things that
Mhm.
we're all so used to. I feel like some of that's just never going to
Yeah.
go away. So
Um, Something that you said that just drummed up a thought for me is to your point, a lot of the product categories, there's not a ton of difference between them, like time over time. But for anybody who is interested, we do produce a quarterly stat report. So if you guys aren't familiar, it's on our resources page and we can link to it in the episode description. Every quarter, we actually post what those product category shifts are. We post different buying behavior trends. So, obviously today we're kind of talking about looking forward as a whole, but if anybody's interested in diving deep onto some of those nuances as they pop up, we do have a resource guide as well. So just wanted to plug that real quick. Um, Matt, back to you. Um, just kind of to wrap up and put a bow on this, um, is there any advice or anything that you would tell distributors when they're trying to work with their clients in the next year? I kind of liked what you were talking about earlier as far as like it's almost like you tell them don't be afraid to present a higher quality item because people are looking for it. Like anything kind of like that you would advise distributors next year?
Yeah, so just like what you said, I mean, yeah, don't be afraid, to at least offer customers, some more of the premium products. I think people would be, somewhat surprised to hear what their customers may be willing to purchase. I mean, if it's a good quality item, with a good name brand that people want or recognize and want to have their, company logo kind of tied on with that. Yeah, I think people would be surprised to see, what their customers are willing to purchase. And
Mhm.
sometimes, the end users, they just don't know that these distributors can offer them these products. It's just not something that's been offered to them in the past. And so they may be stuck in that mindset of, oh, this person is just here to give us the company tchotchkes with our name on it,
Mhm.
So I think some of it is that, and yeah, just being confident in what you are offering them. I think one of the things I've seen throughout my time here that I really liked the approach of personally was, giving someone a presentation of some different product options and just don't include any pricing on there and tell them, hey,
Yeah.
here are three different, tumblers or water bottles that all look a little bit different, but here's kind of our reviews on them, but don't stick any pricing on there and just kind of see what they would say, and then once they pick the one that they like the most, then come back and give them that quote and just see what their thoughts are on that. And if they really are, against that based on the price point,
Mhm.
then maybe offer them that other suggestion, that is a little bit cheaper or whatever the case may be there. But just try it, be confident and see what kind of feedback you get.
Yeah. Confidence in 2026. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we're
I
looking
think it's a
for.
key.
Um, well, that's all I had for you today. I wanted to thank you again for giving your input and your insights. Um, and for everybody joining today, again, like I said, we have resources that point to product category shifts. And Matt, thank you again.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
again
me.
for
I do.
joining. Yes.
I truly appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, if you guys are, looking for some other trends and things like that, go and check out the newsstand over there in Sage Workplace. We've got a lot of really great resources in there. Our monthly newsletters and trending product categories in there for you. I also think, when you're doing a product search there in Sage Workplace, you can use the other filter options and filter by, popular products, new products, fresh ideas. There's some really, really good filters down there. And then lastly, in our catalog studio, we've got some great pre-built catalogs that are in there. And I know we're getting ready to update a lot of those here at the beginning of the year. But then we also release the quarterly catalogs in there as well that always have some great ideas. So keep an eye on those and go and check them out every once in a while if you guys are looking for something a little bit new and different.
Awesome. You heard it here first. All right. Well, thank you again, and we'll see the rest of you on our next episode of Promo Perspectives.
See y'all.